Welcome. In this video, we're going to draw lines, squares, circles, and arcs. In a later video, we will use these basic methods to draw a simple 2D part. By default, FlowXpert opens in sketch mode and is ready for 2D drawing. But if we look at the sketch grid in FlowXpert, we see that it is displayed in a standard trimetric view, which is not ideal for 2D drawing. We remedy this by clicking on the Plan View icon located in the Design Orient group. The plan view looks down onto the XY plane with the X and Y axes pointed in their traditional directions. If you want a different viewing angle, click the pull down for the trimetric icon and choose your preferred view. When changing views, it is possible that the drawing grid becomes rotated so that the X and Y axes point in an undesired direction. If that happens, you can always rotate the coordinate system by clicking and dragging the axis indicator. Most 2D parts can and should be drawn with a combination of lines, rectangles, arcs, and circles. The tools to draw these features are in the Sketch group of the Design tab. The name and action of each tool can be seen by hovering over the tool with the mouse. FlowXpert offers many options and methods for drawing basic geometry. Here we look at just a few of the methods. You are encouraged to experiment or to watch the Space Claim tutorials. If we hover over the line drawing tool, the help note says we can drag to draw a line, click for a polyline, and double click to finish. Let's try it. We click on the line tool and move the mouse cursor into the design view. By successive clicking, we draw a continuous polyline. We can either double click or press the escape key to stop drawing additional lines. Now we can draw lines, but this method is not very helpful. We did not define the dimensions of the line or an exact placement. Let's remove some of the lines we just drew by selecting them in the structure tree, right-clicking and deleting them. We can also delete lines by selecting them with the Select tool and pressing the Delete button. Both methods may be used throughout this video. Before we start drawing lines with known dimensions, we will first look at the concept of snaps. Snaps help you snap to a desired location. For example, what if you wanted to draw a line to the exact endpoint of another line, or to an intersection of the sketch grid? FlowXpert allows you to control which snaps are in effect. From the File menu, click on FlowXpert Options. Select Snap, and you can now determine which snaps are used during sketching or change them as desired. Here we see that snaps are checked for endpoints, midpoints, and arc centers, and the grid. We will keep these as defaults. Note that Snap to Grid and Snap to Angle can be toggled off and on in the Options panel. To see snaps in action, draw a single line by snapping to grid intersections. You can see how the end of the line goes from intersection to intersection once you get close to it. Let's turn off Snap to Grid and do another line. You'll notice we can easily place the cursor away from intersections without it snapping to an intersection. Let's draw a third line and let it snap to the endpoints of the first two lines. Now let's draw a line with known dimensions. We click to anchor the first endpoint and begin dragging out the line. Notice the two parameter boxes. One of the boxes gives the angle of the line and the other the length. Using the Tab key, we can move back and forth between the two parameter boxes. If you change the length parameter and press the Tab key, the change takes effect immediately and you move to the other parameter. If you change a value and press the Enter key, the change takes effect, but you stay in the same parameter box. By using Tab and Enter, you can create the desired line. Pressing Escape or double-clicking ends the operation. Now we can draw a line of specific length and angle. But what if we want to start the line at a specific location of the sketch grid? How do we do that? FlowXpert has a handy construction feature that meets our needs nicely. It allows us to start from an identifiable reference point without the need to draw construction lines. To demonstrate this, click the line drawing tool. Now hover over the coordinate system indicator on the sketch grid until you snap to the center and see the small green circle. Press the Shift key. A construction rectangle appears with two parameter boxes. Use the Tab key to define the starting coordinates of the line. In this example, we want to start the line 1 inch away from the origin in the X and Y directions. When the parameters are correct, press the Enter key to lock in the values. The starting location of the line is now precisely defined, and you can draw the line as normal. This construction trick works for many of the tools. Note that any identifiable location can be used as the starting point. For example, we can use the same construction technique at the end of a line. Snap to the endpoint of the line and press the Shift key. With this technique, features may be drawn in precise relationships. We can take what we have learned from drawing lines and apply it to rectangles, circles, and arcs. Click the rectangle tool and move the mouse cursor over the design view. For this example, let's turn on Snap to Grid in the Options panel. As we move the cursor around the design view, again, we see how it snaps to grid intersections. We click the mouse when over one of the snap locations. Just like with the line tool, the Tab and Enter keys help us define the rectangle. Pressing Escape ends the operation, or clicking in another location will start a new rectangle. Let's do that. There's also a 3-point rectangle function which allows you to draw the rectangle at an angle. It's like a combination of line and rectangle tool. Play around with these options and experiment. A standard circle is easy to draw. Click on the Circle tool and move the mouse cursor to the design view. Click to set the position of the circle center. Clicking the mouse a second time sets the diameter, which can be modified using a parameter box. With the Circle tool, the only parameter to change is the diameter. The Tab and Enter keys can be used to view any changes of parameters. Pressing Escape or clicking in the design view ends the operation. Another option for drawing circles is the 3-point circle. This involves locating 3 points to which FlowXpert will fit a circle. Again, you're encouraged to play with the various drawing tools. The Sweep Arc drawing tool is like the Circle tool. Click on the Sweep Arc tool and move the cursor into the design view. For this demonstration, we click to set the location of the arc center. We then click to set the diameter and starting location of the arc. Using the mouse, we sweep out the arc and click to locate the end of the arc. Pressing Escape completes the process. As with the other drawing tools, we can use the parameter boxes to accurately define the arc. The same principles apply. We will not cover these here, but there are also 3-point arcs and tangent arcs. By now, you can draw lines, rectangles, circles, and arcs. But why are we focused on these drawing elements? After all, you may have noticed a tool called the Spline tool. The Spline tool looks very interesting. With the Spline tool, you can draw any type of curve you want. You simply create a chain of points, and FlowXpert fits a curve to these points. You can even modify the curve after you draw it. If possible, avoid using splines. The motion controller used on Flow shape cutting systems can only process lines and arcs. When you draw a spline, FlowXpert will convert it to lines and arcs in the background. Some of these lines and arcs may be very small. This may cause problems when cutting parts, especially with anything using FlowCut's corner control cutting model. And that is all there is to it. In the following video, we will draw a simple part using these techniques.